Let's be real as fuck about life, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Hi, I'm Julie Chin. You can call me Jules. The Real as Fuck brand is all about providing tools and resources to help new and struggling agents succeed. I share my personal experience not only as a new real estate agent, but also how I overcame the odds starting out as a single mom with a mountain of debt and a ton of self-doubt. Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have April Shaw-Beaudoin on the first podcast for Real as Fuck program. April is the founder of Omnitizing, a full-service branding and marketing design agency. April, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me here. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I've obviously had the luxury of working with you on a couple of projects, Rockstar Lux and, of course, Real as Fuck program. And the focus has always been on me and the vision for the brand. So I'm super excited to totally turn the tables and get real as fuck about you and what you do and what information you have that can help new and struggling agents. I'm sure it will be insightful to get into your head today.
Hopefully it'll be something.
Well, I can't wait to get started and just want to remind you that this is called Real as Fuck program. So we want to get into it and, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, let's do it.
I know when you helped me with branding Rockstar Lux, there was an immediate shift in my business. Is there a part of the process that you love the most?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And no one's ever asked me that before. I've been on a few podcasts, so I'm glad that you're starting off with great questions. I love the part where I can watch the customer go from being skeptical and fearful and doubting to excited and confident and ready to release their new brand out into the world. And when they start getting feedback from other people and they can sense the excitement from their audience and their peers, it lights me up in the same way that it lights my client up, because I can see the vision from the beginning. You know, the exact details get ironed out as we go along in the creative process. But I know that when someone takes that step to invest in themselves and their marketing, to take their business to the next level, that they're going to get the results that they're craving. But I've also had to take a leap of faith working with, our own marketing people, and we're making a significant investment, and I get really scared. And I've always seen an enormous return on my investment, but it's frightening when you're not buying a product. You know, you're investing in yourself, you're trusting someone else's creative process, you're trusting someone else's expertise, that it's going to come back and have a huge impact on their business or on your business. And it's just always, but I feel like when you're fearful, if you take action when you're fearful, you're always going to have like a reward for your courage. Being courageous and doing something even though you're really afraid, it comes back to you with dividends.
I totally get that. And I'm guessing that when you're in the process with someone, fear manifests itself in so many different ways. So I'm sure you get some obstacles there and some defense mechanism with people. I'm sure that there's some pushback through that creative process.
Yes.
How do you work with that?
That I would say, and we experienced this when we worked together on Rockstar Lux. Like I call it analysis.
Are you calling me out on something?
I'm totally calling you out on your own podcast. It was great because we had done Rockstar Lux, and then when we moved into the Real as Fuck, you did trust us at this point in this project. So I feel like things went a lot faster and a lot more smoothly as we built this out together. But definitely with Rockstar Lux, you were really nervous. And so when we presented all of the logos to you the first time, you were like, I don't know, and that's super common. I would say at least 50% of our clients are like, I don't know. That's They
Got
might be
you.
saying a lot of things like, what if we change that? Or what if we, maybe this is the wrong name. But what they're really saying is, I'm afraid. And so a
Mm,
big part of my job, and Buck, who is the other half of Omnitizing, my husband, he's the designer. And so we always have to walk this fine line between validating what people are feeling and experiencing and also encouraging them to trust the creative process, because we know that one simple logo, like Buck isn't going to design something that isn't going to look beautiful everywhere. But when people are looking at on a computer screen, or they've printed it out on a piece of paper and they haven't seen it implemented on their business cards and not on their website and their marketing materials, it can feel like they could make a decision that will destroy their brand or catapult it to new heights. And they get worried that maybe they're going to destroy their brand. So walking them through that is a really enjoyable part for me too, though, especially when they get to the other side and they're like, wow,
right.
I love this.
Yeah, been there.
We have
And
been
this
there.
being our first podcast, there's no perfect. We're just hanging out and sharing and hopefully giving information that will encourage and help someone. So, with that in mind, I'd like to take a step backward and hear about your business from you, what you do, how you created it, because I just jumped in because we know each other. So if you don't mind just taking that step back with me and sharing about your company and what you do.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, it's a full service marketing and branding company. We're a creative agency of just my husband and I. And we don't intend to hire anyone else. It's just the two of us. And one of the things I think that makes us special is that if you work with a normal creative agency, you usually have the A team pitches you and they get you to say yes. And then when it comes to actual implementing and designing, they hand you off to a team. And that team is usually the B team. They're not the ones that are going out there and getting the new clients and building the relationships. So you have had all this momentum with one person at the company, and then you're working with an entirely new person, and you have to get them to download your vision and trust that they're going to be able to do what you want them to. And so with Buck and I, you meet us and you work with us the whole way through. And I think I started Omnitizing about 6 years ago now, and Buck was working at, oh, my cat is jumping.
It's live.
Yeah, it's live. So Buck was still working at a creative agency he had been with for 14 years. And he was, working with me, in the evenings. I would bounce ideas off of him. But he didn't join me till about a year and a half ago. And so when I started this company, I had enormous self-doubt. I think I had the name for 6 months before I had a logo. And then by the time I had a logo, it was another few months before I put the website out there. I had huge imposter syndrome because I didn't have, I have a degree in psychology and creative writing, not marketing. And both of those two things are, really helpful for marketing strategy, but I didn't have an educational background. I had worked for about a year at a digital marketing company where I got to learn a lot because it was a startup. But I definitely felt like I think the tricky part for me was I had some confusion between my personal worth and then the worth of my services. So it took me a long time to be able to price out my product and service offering in a way that was commensurate with the value that I was providing customers, because I was really worried that a customer might say, who does she think she is charging me this much? When that's not what they should be questioning. They should be looking at the deliverables and saying, does this, what they are giving me, is that worth it? Do I get a return on my investment for it? But for me, I had to do like a lot of self-work. I had a professional coach. I had a therapist. I had to do a lot of, I think, soul work so that I could feel confident pitching to strangers. Like I've done a few presentations here in Camden, Maine, where I live in the last few months. And at the beginning, I would have never had the confidence or even the idea that I could get in front of people and offer my expertise. It would have just felt like, just that, who does she think she is? And I've heard Oprah talk about that. I'm not like a huge Oprah junkie or anything, but I've heard her say she had a similar concern. And now after she had some success, after she, worked through her own blocks, she's like, I want people to say she knows exactly who she is. And that's how I feel at this point. Like I know who I am, and I want people to be able to like recognize that in me.
I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. And I think I'm in the exact same place. And I think so many new agents starting out, they're back in the beginning of that. It's all about experience, believing in yourself, changing the narrative in your head, and pushing through the fear and just building upon it step by step. And it makes such a difference. And you can and will come out on the other end, but recognizing that you're in the middle of a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is really hard. And I like what you said too about it's just one step at a time, and it all builds. There's like a lot of stuff out there right now about getting 1% better every single day. And so I feel like I can get 1% better every day. Trying to get 10 or 100% better every day is not sustainable, and it can be very overwhelming. But 1% is
for sure. And I think that the reality is we're living in a society where everything comes very, very quickly. So it's incredibly challenging to be patient with yourself and the process. You're sitting there with your goal. For our listeners, it could be that they've passed the real estate exam, and now they want those listings. They want the paycheck, if you will. And it's a journey. It's a step by step by step. There's training and classes and belief. Self-belief, I think, is probably one of the biggest things in the beginning. You just have to find it and let it empower you and push you forward. What would you say was your biggest thing you needed to overcome? Was it literally that self-belief and pushing the self-doubt out?
Yeah, I think I really wanted external validation. I wanted other people to say she's worth it. And over time, as I worked on each client project and they were seeing a return on their investment and they were loving their brand and, they were effusive about the business that they were building, I got that validation. And even in like a Google business page review, my website now works as a sales generator. My Google business page operates as a sales tool for me because I have 42 5-star reviews. So I have that, like, it's almost like I have a salesperson on for Omnitizing because I have a really built out LinkedIn presence. I have a built out Instagram, my Facebook, all that stuff for my business is there to offer validation and credibility for what I've done. And when you're just starting out, though, the first year or so, you don't have that. And I would say for realtors, they have Zillow and Realtor, and they have client testimonials there that offer credibility. People who are considering working with them, like, oh, okay, they know how to sell a house, and they do a great job with buyers who are looking in 2 different states, and they have that functions as a sales tool for you guys. But in the beginning, it was just, I mean, I didn't have panic attacks, but I think that like on an unconscious level, like I was like, if this fails, this is going to mean that I'm a failure as a person. And so there was a ton of anxiety that probably prevented me from taking the next step. So I think it would have taken me, if I didn't have a husband who was a designer and we weren't running a
Mm-hmm.
branding and marketing agency, it would have taken me a long time to be ready to invest in something like that. So I really applaud you, because most of the realtors that I've worked with, they aren't 1 year in when they choose to hire me. They are 20 years in, they are 10 years in, and it's taken them all of that time to be feeling confident enough in investing in themselves and their brand. So you really like hacked your way through, you found some shortcuts to get you really successful right off the bat. And it was because of your self-belief. And a lot of people, a lot of realtors don't have that. And a lot of business owners, I mean, a lot of businesses we've worked with have been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years before they are feeling like, okay, I can take this next leap and I probably won't fail.
Well, I appreciate that. I think for me, it's just I can be afraid, just like launching this new company, Real as Fuck program. I'm not immune to being afraid or self-doubt, but I kind of demand of myself that I push through that, because I don't want to have regret. So I had the idea for the book years back in 2018, when I started. And I just kept seeing that need over and over and over again with new agents. So I wrote it so that I can help people, but also so I wouldn't have that regret. So there's so many fears that we come up against every day. And it's almost like you need to figure out a method for yourself to push past. Mm-hmm. It's like Mel Robbins has her countdown, which I love, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you push yourself into action. It's something of that nature. Mentally, you've got to find tools that work for you so that you can, not to sound so cliche, but so you can be all that you can actually be. I mean, it's a cliche because it's true, right? And I have to mention the sign behind you, the words, you don't need to compete when you know who you are. That's so much about what we're talking about today. And I understand that anyone going into a new business, whether it's real estate or, a mom sitting at home trying to put together an online Etsy shop or something, it's just taking those steps and believing in yourself. Can you think of any methods that maybe worked for you to help push you through those moments of doubt? Because it's like being at a fork in the road, really, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're either going to stay over here in fear, mm-hmm. or you're going to go the other direction and launch yourself, good or bad. It's kind of like go big or go home, right?
Mm-hmm. I think what I would love to tell myself 5 years ago and 10 years ago and 20 years ago, that don't wait for the fear to dissipate. Like yeah. that has held me back so many times in my life. Like I'm too scared to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And I have to recognize that anytime I do anything new, I'm going to have fear. I'm going to have anxiety around it. So there's a book I have, and it's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And so that's kind of like a motto that I have been bringing to my life over the past year. Yep, I'm scared of this, and I'm still going to do it. And I really feel like that is where the magic happens. When you are scared and you do it anyway, you take action, you cannot anticipate the results. And especially—
That's a mic drop, by the way. I mean, that's so true.
You especially when you're in fear, you are like really only imagining the worst possible outcome. And then it's the absolute opposite is what happens when you take action. So feel the fear and do it anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that. That's a good bumper sticker, actually.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for the new agent on things they should be doing and some mistakes to avoid? I'm sure that in your line of work, you've just seen it all. So that could be really helpful to someone starting out.
Yeah, I think taking your first year to really immerse yourself in training, doing something like what you're offering, being a part of a program where you can get coaching, where you have a sphere of people who are talking about having the same struggles and the same anxieties and the same concerns, and then using that network to kind of troubleshoot and solve to get to beyond that particular concern. I think that is huge. I think for the really ambitious agents who have big goals, taking year 2 to really brand yourself is the smart decision. I think you have to have some failures and some successes under your belt before you can build your brand, because you're just going to have so much wisdom after that first year and so much that you've seen that you like with other people and that you don't like that other people are doing in your industry, that you will be able to answer the questions that Buck and I ask in our Brand 360 interview, which is the basis of all of our deliverables.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, could you share a little bit about what the Brand 360 is?
Yeah. So we did a Brand 360 together when we started the Real as Fuck, and we didn't have a name for it. We knew that you had written a book and that you wanted to be of service and help people. That's like the crux of what we knew. And so Buck and I have this thing called the Brand 360. We tell people it's a psychiatric intake for their business, for their goals, where they're at, what their obstacles are, and where they want to go. And so we do this deep dive into your psyche and then the psyche of your business. And we give you a roadmap after. We give you a summary with our analysis, and we tell you these are the things you need to do to get where you want to go. And you can hire us to do that, or you can take it to another agency if you know someone who's going to do it a little bit, less expensively. You'll have the exact roadmap for what you need to do. And we are going to offer 20% off to any clients that come to us through the Real as Fuck program. So that will be awesome. In the book.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So the Brand 360, I just think that having a year of experience and learning and growth and some muscle memory of like, I was afraid of this and then I took action and it happened, that will serve you really well in working with Buck and I on your brand. I think I've seen people, that have been in real estate for 20 years and they've worked with us and they'll see a increase, 100% increase or 200% increase in their business after working with us, because we ask questions that people are not asking themselves. There is,
for sure.
I think, your success in life, personally and professionally, is based on the depth of questions and answers that you ask yourself. And a lot
That's kind of deep.
Yeah. And I think when you are a business owner, you're also like a manager and you're putting out client fires and you're trying to do some marketing and you're trying to find those buyers and sellers. And then you're working through all of their fires that they have, like your contracts are going, they're, what is it when they fall through? That's what it's called. Like, then you have to regroup and see if you can write a new offer and deal with their letdown and sadness or excitement. There's so much that you are doing every day that you don't have time to sit back and say, okay, what do I enjoy the most do I want to work with buyers? Do I want to work with sellers? Is there a vacation property? Do I have some expertise that I can leverage somehow in my marketing? Like there's always opportunities that people are not taking advantage of. And through our Brand 360, we can usually uncover them.
I love that. It's definitely insightful, and going through the process really connects you to your goals and your vision, I think. So I think it's definitely a great process. What would you say to the struggling agent or new agent, regardless, who is on the fence about spending the money on branding and marketing?
First of all, I get it. I totally understand it. I've been in similar situations. And I would say you need to look at branding and marketing as an investment, not an expense. It's going to be something that you should see an immediate uplift in your business. And then Buck and I build brands that last and evolve over the course of time that you are going to have your business. So to rebrand, to like take a cheap route and find someone on Etsy or Fiverr and have them get a logo, and then you didn't think it all the way through, so your logo name doesn't match your business name, you can't get the URL on online, you can't get the matching domain, and you can't get the matching Facebook and Instagram handle.
Right.
You're creating all these starts and stops for your business, and that is going to prevent you from being able to scale. And so when we worked together on Rockstar Lux, we built that out for you, knowing that you wanted to be licensed and have agents in multiple states. So we didn't want to choose a location. We didn't want to incorporate New Hampshire or Maine or Mount Washington Valley, where you live right now. We wanted to take a really high level approach to your business, and that has served you well. You have been able to check off boxes that we talked about when we first met, that you were like, this is pie in the sky. I'd love for this to happen, but who knows? And then we built it so that you had that path to your success. So I think, flipping the script in your mind of thinking, oh, this is a lot of money, I can't spend this much money on myself. Well, you're not really spending it on yourself. You're spending it on your business. You're spending it to provide value and set yourself apart in a really crowded marketplace. Like there are so many realtors out there. And if you are taking a half-hearted approach to your branding and marketing, you are going to be static noise in that sea of competition that you have. So you have to do something to really radically differentiate yourself so that you are noticed, and that gives you more opportunities.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And it's not just real estate. It's any business. This is just sound business advice. Well, I really appreciate you sharing today, and hopefully we are helping the new agent, the struggling agent, the wannabe entrepreneur. Sorry, my computer just glitched. Here we go. Issues on our first podcast. We knew they were going to happen. So I'm not sure if you heard me, but I wanted to thank you so much for being here and sharing, and let everyone know how they can find you online.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on here. This was really great. I'm excited to see your success, and I'm excited to see all the people that you're going to help and watch their success. It's a beautiful thing what you're doing. And I love getting to be part of that too. And for anyone who's listening or watching, you can find me online at omnitizing.com, OMNITIZING, or Instagram. My user handle is Omnitizing, and the same for LinkedIn. So if you would, if you want to chat, find me there, and let's set up a call to talk about what your goals are.
Love that. And thank you so much for offering everyone 20% off through. Is there a special link for that, or code, I mean?
You can reference Real AF and we will apply it for you.
Well, thank you very much. All right, you heard it here. Check out April Beaudoin for more information at omnitizing.com. We'll also have a link to her site on our Real AF group Facebook page. Tune in next time. Make sure you subscribe to our Spotify channel so you get updated every time we drop a new podcast. And check out our website at realafprogram.com.